Hey guys, Greg Alexander again today, and you don't want to miss this episode. Today I'm going to talk about chatterbaits, vibrating jigs, whatever you want to call them, intricacies that go with them, including which trailers to use, which vibrating jigs to use. If you like catching big fish, chatterbait's one of the baits that you want to be throwing, and I'm going to tell you all about it today, so stay tuned here. So let's get right into it. There's basically several companies make vibrating jigs, but I'm going to talk about today, we're going to talk about the old chatterbait jackhammer first. All right, the jackhammer jig, $17. When it first came out, I thought there's no way I'm paying $17 for that when I can go buy a $4.99 chatterbait, and I throw a lot of $4.99 chatterbaits, trust me. But I have bought some of the jackhammer jigs, and if you look at them, they just have better components than the other regular chatterbait. The hook is major league, a good, strong, sharp, big hook. The head design, it has the eyes on them, the extra painting. It has the keeper on here that holds your bait on. If you throw a regular chatterbait, either got to glue it on or replace it regularly. So is it worth $17.99? Probably not, but I've got some and I throw them. The next bait that we want to look at here is a regular. This is just a regular chatterbait. This is a $4.99 chatterbait. There's no extra painting on the head. There's no special keeper. It's just a regular nickel hook, which tends to bend easier, gets dull quicker. But the blade is pretty much the same blade as on the jackhammer. So in my opinion, if you don't mind fooling with the trailer a little bit more and keep your eye on the hook, this is going to catch just as many fish. And then you got the old Strike King Thunder Cricket, and the Thunder Cricket is not quite as expensive as the jackhammer, but it's still like $12. And it's got good components. It's got nice eyes, little glass eyes, good paint job, a real good hook, a good keeper system, and it's got a different type of blade. If you see the blade on this one versus the blade on the chatterbait. Now, why would you, what's the difference? Why do they make a different blade? Well, I'll tell you. The Thunder Cricket, to me, gets deeper faster. Something to do with this smaller blade, that little pointy blade, not as much bend to it as the chatterbait blade, and it really tends to track deeper and stay deeper easier than the chatterbait. The chatterbait has a lot more lift to it. And also with the Thunder Cricket, that bait is not near as good around wood cover as a regular chatterbait is. Something about that blade, man, it just hangs up, at least to me, like twice as much as a chatterbait. But it'll catch them around docks, rocks, more open type areas. But if you're throwing in the wood, you're probably going to get a little frustrated with a Thunder Cricket, unless of course you get like a weedless one, which I don't have any weedless ones. So it gets deeper faster, stays deeper, better for open cover, better around docks, better around rocks, better around drop off sandbars and things like that, the Thunder Cricket. And then the chatterbait, the original chatterbait, is going to be better around wood because it's way more weedless. But it's not just the bait that makes it more weedless. The trailer can make a big difference to how much you actually hang up or don't hang up. This Zaco trailer here is probably the hanging uppinest trailer that you can put on a chatterbait because it's wide top to bottom. So when it hits stuff, it tends to roll over on its side like that and catch. Whereas if you're throwing, say, a Rage Menace tail on the back, those flappers there, it tends to keep it from rolling as much. And even better yet, if you really want to get through the wood good and you don't want it to roll over on you, you want a flat bodied bait like a beaver or a D-bomb, any of these flat type of creature baits, because they make that bait, they keel it, basically make it stay flat and it doesn't roll near as bad as some of these other baits. And also, because the thunder cricket tends to get down deeper quicker, it's going to lay down in that wood a lot harder than a chatterbait that has more lift for coming through wood. So, 1/2 ounce is a good weight that you could probably use almost all the time with a chatterbait. Maybe a 3/8 ounce, unless you're fishing ledges. Some of these guys got these 1 ounce vibrating jigs out there that you can fish deeper ledges with. But typical trailers, the Zaco. This is a green pumpkin Zaco. Basically what happens is when you're swimming it, that tail's going side to side like a fish. Then you have pretty much any swim bait, boot tail swim bait, that would match your lure. This one's green pumpkin with shad, so I have a green pumpkin with shad trailer on it. Kind of goes together. Then I showed you briefly the old Rage Tail Menace. A lot of action on the back of a chatterbait. And you can mix it up a little bit more and throw like a Rage Crawl on the back of a vibrating jig. We talked about creature baits. Now, when the chatterbait first came out, it came standard with a split tail trailer. Nobody hardly throws it anymore, but that's a real subtle way to put it in front of a fish where they get used to all these other trailers, and you give them that little subtle trailer and they might bite it. So here's another subtle trailer. Old straight worm. Put a straight worm on the back of your vibrating jig, and that can be very subtle when the fish are getting conditioned to a lot of action on the chatterbaits. And then of course you have your white. And about the only time I throw a nickel blade on a vibrating jig is when I'm throwing white. Every other chatterbait or vibrating jig that I throw, if it doesn't come with a painted blade, a black blade, a green pumpkin blade, and it comes with a nickel blade and it's a different color, I'm probably pulling out the black Sharpie and blacken the blade out. Because the only time you really want that flash is when they think it's a shad and you get flash. If they think it's bluegill or some other thing swimming through there, then you don't really need the flash. And if it's a cloudy day, the flash can actually look kind of fake. So you don't want to add a bunch of flash on a cloudy day to your vibrating jig. Then we got the old Lake Fork Live Magic Shad, which is one of the original chatterbait trailers. Good trailer. Then we have things like Fish Arrow makes what they call a steel bait. And here it is. This basically just, you can see what it does. It just goes like that behind the chatterbait. It's a good bait too. And then we have our regular white Zaco. And then we have a boot-tailed Zaco when you really want to get a lot of action. That'll give you a lot of action. Dingier water, you're moving it faster, darker days. And then you have Z-Man makes an Elastec trailer for these chatterbaits. This is the Razor Shad, which, put it on and forget it, because it lasts forever and ever and ever. May not always be the best trailer, but if it's working for you, it's just going to last and last and last. So when would you throw a chatterbait? Man, I would throw it pretty much anytime from pre-spawn till right before winter. Uh, Shallow water, around cover, active bait, bluegill around, shad around, skipping docks with it. It's one of the best skipping baits that there is. I mean, you can't skip a spinnerbait very well, but man, I can skip the heck out of a chatterbait and get it up underneath the floating docks or regular docks or overhanging bushes and things like that. So a chatterbait is going to catch you a bigger than average fish. It's a go-to bait when you're looking for a better bite than what you've been getting. Mix it up. That would be my advice to you, would be to mix up the colors, to mix up the blade styles, to mix up the trailers, to fish it slower, to fish it faster. And when you get around the fish, the big ones are going to eat it. I mean, Andy Montgomery just won a major league fishing tournament skipping a chatterbait under docks. So it's a winning bait. I would encourage you guys to, if you don't have a good variety of them in white and bluegill and green pumpkin and shad colors, to have several different ones so that you can mix it up. Like I said in some of my other videos, you got to be able to go through stuff and mix it up, because little tweaks make big peaks. It's the same thing with a chatterbait. You can't just have your favorite one tied on and go out there and throw it, because it's not always going to work. I mean, sure, you're going to throw it. It's not always going to work, but you got to be able to put it down when they're not biting the green pumpkin one and throw the white one, or throw the black and blue one. Or maybe you're getting too much lift with the regular chatterbait, so then you need to go to the Strike King chatterbait with the different kind of blade on it. So anyhow, that's my take on chatterbaits. Get out there this spring, especially as we're heading into pre-spawn, and the big girls are going to be eating these up. So get you some. Again, if you like my videos, my instructional videos, my product reviews, my gear reviews, my tournament reports, my on-the-water vlogs, then please subscribe to my channel. I would appreciate it. It'll help you. It'll help me. And have a blessed day.